It's been 2 years and I'm still in love with Crazy Rich Asians, directed by John M. Chu, less so for the plot but more so for all the deliberate and thoughtful work put into its production. I've always loved discussions and often turn to Tumblr as a source to voice all of my feelings, so if you follow me on Tumblr you might have already seen this. Due to my fascination of the medium of video essays, I thought I'd give an attempt here on my YouTube channel. Please bear with me. To this day, my favorite scene is still the Mahjong scene. Prior to watching the movie, I had never played Mahjong and never knew the rules, yet I enjoyed every moment of that scene. The medium of movies restricts an ability to explicitly portray the significance of a piece or even a symbol. The insertion of internal dialogue to contextualize the situation in this case would have been jarring, interrupting the flow of the narrative, but Chu does an excellent job of overcoming this barrier and managing to convey a message even if you've never played Mahjong before. It's artful, but easily digestible for any moviegoer to understand just how pivotal this moment truly is. Everything is deliberate, from Rachel's monologue to the framing of the shot. Rachel holds what we would soon later discover to be the winning piece while delivering the news to Nick's mother that he proposed. The tile symbolizes her upper hand in the game of Mahjong itself and in the battle for Nick's love. The setup line,
"There's no winning. You made sure of that,"
was a literal lead into the main message. She was willing to lose to Eleanor in both the game and in regards to Nick because she loved him dearly. By making Rachel put the piece in her lineup, Chu conveys the message to the audience that the piece was playable. It is that moment that everyone can understand the significance of the piece. Yet she forsakes it all, handing over the exact same piece that Eleanor needed to win. Taken at a glance and as a snapshot of the film, it seems carefully crafted and wonderfully thought out. Rachel is conceding, letting Nick's mom win, letting Nick go. She folds the piece that is 8. For anyone familiar with Chinese culture, 8 represents fortune, wealth, and happiness. That's the beauty of this moment. Chu makes the scene understandable for anyone, but he enriches it with cultural nuance. For those willing to look deeper, it's like a secret love message, a tribute to some of our heritage. Nick's mother says that Rachel doesn't belong with Nick, less so for her socioeconomic background, but more so for American thinking.
And all Americans think about is their own happiness.
Don't you want Nick to be happy?
It's an illusion. We understand how to build things that last. Something you know nothing about.
The conversation is framed as an East versus West mentality, a concept not foreign to many of us Asian Americans. As this discussion unravels, the camera focuses on two pieces, two characters representing the East and West. I think it's rather beautiful how the images and dialogue flow seamlessly, but I think the foundation of the beauty of this scene was laid from the beginning. We are introduced to Rachel as she plays poker with her student. She is ambitious and a risk taker, strong and capable. She pulls off a considerable bluff.
I'm all in.
As a professor of game theory, she literally tells her student,
Curtis is cheap. So he's not playing using logic or math, but using his psychology. Our brains so hate the idea of losing something that's valuable to us that we abandon all rational thought and make some really poor decisions. So Curtis wasn't playing to win, he was playing not to lose.
He wasn't playing to win, he was playing not to lose. This mentality may initially be viewed as a weakness, cause of Curtis losing to her entire bluff. But by the end of the movie, this mentality is a sign of strength for Rachel. She didn't view Nick as a game or something to win, which allowed her to win over the heart of Eleanor. Every time Rachel stuck to who she was as a passionate professor, she was able to stand her ground.
Princess Intan, Rachel Chu, I read your great article about microloans in the Asian Economics Journal.
I received so much criticism about that article.
Well, you know what? I think your critics missed the point. Because your microloans help women, and women lift up economies.
What was your name again?
She didn't impress anyone by her attempts to meet their standards. She did so by her own achievements.
It's right at the front. Take a look. I think you've got to find her.
I think to the naked eye, many unimpassioned by Asian American issues and representation view that the movie is an inaccurate and flowery display of Asians' attempt to enter mainstream Hollywood. I think that Crazy Rich Asians was a far cry from that. I think it represented so much unity and collaboration. Seeing all these faces felt like a huge production made by cousins that plays at a family reunion. We had Asian representation from all across the world, and I think that uniting in a similar cause evokes so much passion that every time I watch the film, I feel celebratory. From the cameo by Kina Grant Ennis and the soundtrack including a young Asian American doing a beautiful cover to reclaim the symbol yellow, I think ultimately the film is a delicately handcrafted gift to an extended family that's covered by the flowery displays of Hollywood. The fancy extravaganza of the movie challenges a typical one-dimensional view of Asians, but I think the ultimate message is that we are all a family who will support each other.